Hey folks, and welcome to my thoughts on a book. And today's book is Skulduggery Pleasant, Playing with Fire by Derek Landy. Now this is the second book in the Skulduggery Pleasant series. There will be spoilers. Alright, so our main heroes of the story, I'll just summarize both of them, is Skulduggery Pleasant, who is a skeleton detective. He, during the Great War, a magical war, there was thousands, it was almost 1,000 years ago. He was killed, but then he came back as a skeleton, which is fucking cool. I mean, look at him. That's awesome. And now he works for kind of, the ministry of this reality, the Grand Mugs. They're kind of like the ministry, and there's a lot of them in each country. There's like a council in each country. And Valkyrie Kane, or is her name before she chose her own name, Stephanie. Now, Stephanie was a regular 12-year-old until her famous writer uncle has died. And she had discovered that there's a whole magical world, and she also met Skulduggery. And she learned that her uncle was somewhat involved in this magical world. And now she has become involved with it as well, and she also learned that her uncle was actually murdered. So now we're a year later. Valkyrie is more trained. She is she has the ability to command the elements, command elements, and mainly wind. Yeah, mainly wind is her thing. And now she's, Skulduggery's apprentice. She has a reflection. So you can summon the reflection out of a mirror, and she sends it to school and places, so she can, go out with Skulduggery without her parents wondering or worrying where she is. Right, so in the second book, there is a new threat on the whole magical world. During that war, there was a war about these gods, the faceless ones, who wanted to control everything how they saw fit. Now, the war was won, and they managed to banish the faceless ones away, but now someone wants to bring them back. And to do that, they're going to use the grotesquerie, which is, the one that wants to bring them back is Baron V. I just don't know how you pronounce his name. I read the whole book and I still have no idea. So Baron V, with the help, he's broken out of prison. Back during after the war, Skulduggery has arrested him. Now he's released by that prison, and with Billy Ray Sunjin, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his surname, to be honest, who has the ability to go under the ground, disappear up and down. He breaks him out, and with another vampire that's also, he commands them, and now he is looking for the grotesquerie and an armor of the previous bad guy. And now Valkyrie and Skulduggery have to stop him. Because if he succeeds, this creature will manage to summon the faceless ones back to their reality, and they really don't want that. So along the way, Valkyrie discovers that her uncle had a conscious stone, which is a stone that if you sleep near it, you put it under your pillow, it absorbs your consciousness, and it's like leaving a small copy of you. And now Valkyrie at least has that. She goes to a family reunion she doesn't really want to be in. She has to kill her own reflection. Well, they have to kill her reflection in order to get information on where the grotesquerie is. And we meet the Torment, who's not a very lovely guy. Right, so as we move, we also find out that apparently the Baron, no, not the Baron. Right, there's a new guy. In the previous book, the three mugs that were in the council for where they live were killed. And now there is a new one. And Skulduggery has a strong suspicion, which is later on pretty much confirmed, that this mug was put in the position that he is if he promised to release Baron V out of his jail, which he does. He released him, and so now, as they're on the last day. There's a few hours, the full moon. Soon they'll be able to summon the faceless ones. Now, in the last minute, they managed to stop it. The grotesquerie is now. I mean, is he really dead? Anyway, they do manage to stop him in the end after a lot of effort and a lot of injuries. But before that, we also discovered that the Baron V was actually used as a puppet, and Billy Ray was hired by someone else to get him out of there. And the people who got the mug, the mag that now sits in the council, they brought him to that position were other people entirely. It was not the Baron. So poor Baron, he was used and he doesn't even know it. Oh well, fuck him. So they discovered that. Also, Skulduggery is fired, after saying these accusations to the mug. So now he will, now he'll just have to be a detective. And he and Valkyrie still need to find out who are the ones that are behind this. And that's it. That is where it ends till next time. Oh, so there's like a mini story in the end. I realize they're not actually, you don't have to read them, but they're like mini stories. In this book, the mini story's already inside, so that's awesome. I have like a short one in a separate book somewhere. I don't remember. So this was just great. I love Skulduggery Pleasant. It's exactly my type of fantasy. I just realized another reason why I actually really love this series. It has kind of the same tone as Neil Gaiman's stories, that realistic fantasy, where it's not gonna be easy, and even beings who are very strong, even they are not overpowered. There's still, there's still logic, and there's still much realism in there. So yeah, that's definitely another reason why I love it. So this was great. It was great to see Skulduggery and Valkyrie again. It's just this book's out of print currently, so I can't get it here. So after a year, I finally got the second one. I hope I'll get the third one again. I'm dying to continue this one. It's really a good fantasy. I love the dynamic between Valkyrie and Skulduggery. And Skulduggery is just bloody awesome. This was great. Um, Definitely 5 stars. Alright, folks, so that is it. I definitely recommend this one if you love fantasy or if you already read the book of this series, the first one. Definitely, I recommend to continue. Or if you're like me and you're obsessed with skeletons, also recommend. So let me know if you read this one, if or whatnot. Until next time, bye.